I went to Baylor University. It's a Southern Baptist university in Central Texas, and it actually did set me up for my career in sociology. As odd as it sounds, I was a very quiet person up to the point of undergrad, and the racism, the homophobia, the sexism, it kind of inspired me to not be. I would get so furious in class and end up arguing with the entire class. It was good practice, right?
Yeah.
You wouldn't think that going to a very conservative school would actually be training to become, a sociologist, but it did help because it helped me refine my arguing skills, debating skills. It got to the point where it didn't matter who I was arguing against. I would get so passionate that I just do it, right?
Yeah. Why did you choose Baylor?
My parents actually are very, very religious. Yeah, very, very religious. And at the time, because I'd been raised in the church, and in Texas, it's because of the law school, because of the medical school, it's considered a very good private school. I think going into it, I was a little bit naive. I didn't realize how religious the actual content, because at the prep school I went to was associated with the Episcopal Church, but it wasn't religious at all. Don't think I realized that Baylor was going to be quite as conservative as it was. I think that's just naive.
Yeah.
I was naive at that point.
Was there any point in your time there that you thought of transferring because of all the racism and homophobia that you've witnessed?
No, but part of that is because I was able to find, at a school that's 96% white, the rest of us all kind of banded together. And because of my previous experiences as a kid, finding that group, it was, and at the end, my daughter looks through my photo albums now and she goes, "Why were you part of the Black Student Association? Why were you part of the Hispanic?" She's like, "Why were you part of all of these?" And I was like, back then, we kind of had to, because there were so few of us that we just ended up crossing all of these racial boundaries simply because it was so bad at the time that I remember my friend who, American Indian, came up, he goes, "Natasha, look at this." And it was on a dot matrix printer. We had to tear off the perforations. And they had listed the South Asian Indian students and the American Indian students in one giant category. Indian, right? And I looked at that going, wow, they are so behind that it's almost archaic that they would think that the continent of Asia and American, that's how clueless.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Yeah.
Were you ever discriminated against with your professors or anything like that at your time there?
It came from the other students, I think, more than from the professors. I think by that point, professors had it in their heads that, oh, it's an Asian American female, she's going to be a good student, she's not going to be a problem, etc. I think it was more the treatment, and it wasn't so much being harassed or being, well, it was a little bit of being harassed. It was the microaggressions, I think, that really got to me more than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So sometimes the glances or the assumptions, and guys, like, it's interesting because sexual harassment then became very racialized, but I think that's a commonality that's carried through up until this point in time.
Yeah, so at what